I am especially giving thanks to the goddess Ixchel and the god Itzamna, and all of the female deities of the Mayan pantheon and all of the male deities of the Mayan pantheon. I'm also giving thanks to the goddess Ixcacao. I am here to do your work, and I thank you for your continued energetic blessings. Greetings, dear soul. I am Crispy. I am another you. You are another me. We are one Godsciousness. And therefore, you are Crispy too. Today I'm here to tell you all about the twin flame and the soulmate phenomenon through the perspective of the Divine Mayan Zolkin calendar. Now, I must be totally honest with you. There is no concept of the twin flame and soulmate phenomenon in the Mayan culture. At the highest level, they believe Een Lak'esh Alakin. We are one Godsciousness, and every single person is a fractal of the one. So there are no bad combinations of people on the Divine Mayan Zolkin calendar. However, there are some combinations which facilitate certain states of mind easier than others, and I am here today to tell you all about that. Firstly, obviously, you know that there are 4 colors of the glyphs, which stand for red as in east as a direction, springtime as a season, sunrise as a time of day, and the physical body as a primary processing modality. Next in line are the white glyphs, which is midnight, north, winter, the element of air, and our spiritual body. Next in line, all of the bluish and blackish glyphs. This is fall, autumn, if you will. Sunset as a peak energetic time of the day. The water element and the emotional body as the primary energetic processing modality. And then we have south, summer, noon, fire, and the thinking body. Now, just quickly, you must know that's the whole basis of comparisons or compatibilities, we could say, between all of the signs on the zodiac. Okay? It's amazing, and that is really the core of what I'm going to teach you today as well. It is elemental. There's one other very interesting thing when you look at the flow. This is the first glyph. Spring, winter, autumn, summer. Wait a minute, what? Sunrise, midnight, sunset, noon. The Mayan calendar goes in reverse. Okay, we'll just set that aside. But it's true. All right, so now the compatibilities are much the same as with the zodiac. First of all, any two glyphs of the same color, and you can use this. I would screenshot it and download it and print it. First of all, any two people of the same element have what I call a mirroring and friendly relationship. Now, if your partner has the same color as you, that's great. It could mean a comfortable and friendly partnership between you, which is wonderful. As we all know, there's enough going on out there in the rest of the world for you to be able to come home and feel relaxed and safe, and that can provide you with the foundation for enormous personal growth. You don't necessarily need the big challenge from the love interest, the partner, the spouse, or whatever, the friend. And this is one of the, I will say, issues with the recent twin flame and soulmate activity, greatly enhanced by SNS, at least all of the comments about it, and there's quite a few workshops and things. And I think one of the things that's happening is people get initially very excited about this new relationship. Oh, we're twin flames or whatever, soulmates, that's fine, that's great. I think without that term, those terms, when two people come together and the sparks are there and they initiate a relationship, there's a lot of energy. That's natural for any two people to come together in a very intimate manner. And what I have noticed is there's a general running away from the relationship as soon as it gets into that too intimate space, meaning trigger space. Now, I need to define for you what I consider to be a twin flame and soulmate relationship. It is one in which you are triggered. It is one in which you face emotional pain and you grow from it. All right? That's it. And so, certainly, that same glyph color match between people can be friendly and comfortable and supportive. And that may or may not provide you with the stimulation, as it were, or the challenge that you might need. Now, quickly I'll just say that by looking at the glyph relationship, that is precisely half of the relationship. Everyone is born on a tone, and there are tonal relationships. First of all of the one dot family have a connection, and that's tone 1 and tone 6 and tone 11. There is a stronger connection between them. Then, here's another reason why that is. The patterns. And primarily, it goes directly to your past wisdom guide. Look at that pattern. Conversely, it also goes to your future vision guide. So you can see there are multiple levels happening with any combination of any two people. And here's the third layer, the combination of any two people. Mayan astrology is the only astrological system in existence, or I'll just say in the world, that allows you to combine two people's birthdays and make what I call a third entity. It could be your spiritual baby if you want, but I've also done readings for parent and child, so you don't really want to tell them it's your spiritual baby, but it is a third entity. It's very simple. The addition of the position, that is to say the number, if you give this 20 and this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then you add the two position numbers together. So a person who is the 6th glyph with the 13th glyph becomes the 19th glyph. And that's a whole other layer that I'm not even going to get into today, but I love getting into it when I do readings for people. It is extremely revealing, and on that same level, when you add the tones, for example, a tone 4 person plus a tone 5 person becomes tone 9. So 4 is called stabilizing, 5 is empowering, and together it makes patient. Just listening to that gives you a feel for the type of energies, doesn't it? Now, taking a closer look at this chart, you see some patterns. First of all, north and south and east and west have a relationship called balancing and supporting. The reason for that is because everyone who's born on a red glyph has a blue glyph for their divine masculine power and divine feminine power. Everyone who's born on blue has red for their divine masculine, divine feminine, and the exact same for people born on a white glyph. They have a yellow. So north and south are balancing and supporting. Hello, birdie. This is deeply woven into the divine Mayan Zolkin calendar, thousands and thousands of years ago. Another thing that's very important is the flow of direction again. So it's very interesting because these are the people who are right next to you, and as one might expect, it's as though you just bought a house, and right next to you on either side are different kinds of people than you. So, for example, all people who are earth and spring and the physical body have a somewhat mysterious and possibly confusing relationship with all people who are air and winter and the spiritual body. And it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Earth and air. I mean, you can picture a mountain and wind, and it's beautiful and exciting, and it could give a great sense of mystery, but you can also picture a dust storm, and there's a lot of confusion there. There's a high potential for people who are all of the white glyphs not really understanding all of the red glyphs, and vice versa, of course. And if we were to reverse direction and go from all of the people who are earth-based going into fire-based, so all of the red glyphs relationship to all of the yellow glyphs relationship is called inspiring and challenging. Now, I like to use this image, the earth-based log and the fire-based fire. It's really easy to tend that fire carefully and have it be a wonderfully inspiring relationship. But if things get out of hand, you have got yourself a challenge. Now, similarly, that relationship for all blue glyphs being watery and emotional, going into fire is the same mystery and confusion. And just picture water poured on a fire. What do you get? Steam. And if it's too much water, the fire goes out, and that's just no fun. If it's too much fire, there's just a little bit of steam, and the water is evaporated. So, like all things, a balance must be met. Now, from all of the blue glyphs again, going to white, this is an interesting combination. You've got water, which is a fluid, and then air, which is quite similar in many ways. Both of them take the shape of their container, for example. But water is it's actually very heavy and quite solid, really, compared to air. So therefore, we've got a relationship of inspiration and challenge. And I like to use this image to display the type of energy that waits for all of the blue and all of the white glyphs in combination. So, again, the glyphs provide you with exactly 50% of the information about compatibilities. But I will tell you a story. It was about a year after my initial download that happened during meditation, where I was physically struck by this feeling that I could also see. And then I began unpacking it and drawing out the same patterns for every glyph. And it was then that I finally realized that my wife is my divine masculine guide, and I am her divine feminine guide. That's the same relationship for all people. Whomever is your divine masculine guide, you are their divine feminine guide. Can you say Een Lak'esh alakin? The intelligence and intention that is woven into this system. So all blues and reds and all whites and yellows have that balancing and support divine feminine, divine masculine relationship that is unlike any other astrological system in existence in this world called planet Earth. Okay. Now back to the tones. The one dots have their relationship to the two dots, of course. So tone 2, tone 7, and tone 12 have a strong relationship. So therefore, it doesn't really matter if a person is red and they are paired up with a person who is white, if they're both in that 2-dot family, or they're both the same tone, for example. And there's other layers too, like I mentioned. Past wisdom, divine feminine, divine masculine, future vision. All these relationships, all these patterns, it is actually extremely complex, but very simple. And that's why I take so much time to make a document for you. It's actually 3 documents. If you hire me to do a compatibility between 2 people, each one person gets a 20-ish page document that is soul-splaned to the max, including all these delicious visuals. And then there's a 3rd document about the pairing of you 2, which goes very deep. And of course, the relationship between your individual colors is very clearly explained, and the tone relationships, tonal, tonal, if you will, tonal relationships. The nahual is your glyph, the tonal is your tone. Tone 3, tone 5, and tone 13 are all very connected. Tone 4 and tone 9, very connected. Tone 5 and tone 10 are very connected. And there's other kinds of connections that relate directly to this vision, which I also received. And now we need to talk about the chakras. Tone 13 connects with tone 1. And tone 13, anyone who is a tone 13, you also automatically connect with every other tone, because 13 contains all of the others. And when you add 13 to any other tone, you automatically get that tone. It's the exact same with a how. Anyone who is a how, you automatically become the other person's glyph when you make the 3rd spiritual entity. And for those people who are born on Een 260, tone 13 and Ahau, the solar chief, you fully become the other person when you pair with them. And I have done a reading for a woman who is tone 13 of Ahau. And it's a challenge to become the other person, of course. But if anyone out of the 260 possibilities can do it, she can. So, what I need to tell you is this. I can find for you a very high level of spiritual connectivity. I can also explain to you all of the challenges. Now, when we combine people, 2 glyphs become a 3rd glyph. 2 tones become a 3rd tone. There are some pairings that are much easier than others. And of course, a couple pairings are quite challenging. The one thing I will tell you right now, I also am the only one in the world at this time who teaches that tone 11 is actually better to be thought about as though it were upside down. Equally, tone 6 is better thought about to be upside down, the rolla bola. So therefore, when any two people combine to make either tone 6 or tone 11, unless they are very balanced and committed to a balanced relationship, I don't actually predict good things for the relationship. This has come true for 2 of the readings I gave people. I'm not going to say who they are, their names. I have a very strict code of conduct, non-disclosure, but I will say this. When one person comes to me asking for a paired reading with the other person, and the other person does not contribute, then immediately I know there's a problem. Okay? I explain very clearly on my agreement form before we begin that in order for me to do my job, I need input from you. And if one person is not interested, then you know what? What else do I need to tell you? The other person is not interested. Now, as it happened in both cases, my clients added up to be tone 11 with their partners, and in both cases a divorce happened shortly after the reading I gave them. Now, I never tell people, oh no, you're tone 11 or you're tone 6, therefore blah blah blah. I do explain things carefully, and the glyphs also have a large amount to do with it. And there's just one other factor. The whole rest of your life. That means birth order. Are you the firstborn and your partner's the baby of the family? Are you an only child and your partner's the middle child? Are you from a wealthy family and your partner is not? Are you from one culture and your partner is from a different culture where there's not a lot of harmony between those cultures? There's so many other variables that to only talk about this as though it were the answer is completely foolish. And yet, it does unlock potential that there is no other way to experience. And as I mentioned earlier with the flight or fight fantasy with certain twin flame or soul mate relationships, what we're really talking about is the ego, and that means the shadow. I call it the shadow ego. Now, every reading I give also includes a 52-page PDF document, and 4 pages of that is the shadow ego work. Get it? Shadow work. Ego work, shadow ego work. And I promise you, if you do that work, you are going to come out of it in a much higher vibrational state, able to give and receive a higher vibration of energy. You can call it love if you want. I certainly do. To all of your relationships. Now, just to back up a little bit to my discovery about my wife. I'm going to be very honest with you. We had been together for about 15 years at that point. There was good times, there was not good times. Firstly, I was an alcoholic, so that tells you where my ego was at. And I was very frustrated with certain qualities that she had that I thought were, and I felt maybe unappreciated for certain qualities that I had. The very instant that I figured this out, that whole drama balloon burst. I started laughing. I realized those qualities in her strength, is what I need to embrace in her and in myself. And she also needs to embrace my soft side. Every single human being has a divine masculine guide, if you will, power side, your divine masculine side, your outer yang. And every single human being has a divine, feminine, receptive, soft side. And if more people knew that, that would solve so much. So, if you would like me to unlock some potential for you and your partner, or child, or parent, it's not just about the lovers, obviously. I would be so happy to do so. And I also need to say one thing. I have a money back guarantee. If you feel after I'm completely done, and after we have a Zoom, all of my readings come with a Zoom session, which I record and send to you after. If you feel, honestly, that no benefit has been achieved, I will give you back every penny. I don't know of any other astrologer or psychologist or psychiatrist or any service provider of this nature that does that. That's how confident I am in this system and in my ability to explain the interlocking relationships that unlock the key to your happy life. So, Een Lak'esh, Namaste.